Okay.
So beautiful listening to your voice. Thank you. I felt the idea, the beautiful ideas were coming together with a beautiful sound.
Can I ask you a question about that? I love Maayan chanting. I listen to it on the radio sometimes, there's stations. And is there an issue with women chanting? No.
It's just meant
It's not chanting.
It's not chanting, it's just, it's
It's
reading.
Reading B'Ta'amim, as we would say in Israel.
It's exactly the actual, but it's not chanting.
We call it tilawa.
Tilawa.
So it's, you're not just reading an Arabic text, you're reading a Quranic text.
Right.
And it has its own rules.
Yes.
So it is called tilawa. Now you want to find women who, like, if you are looking for tilawa Quran Kareem, it will be all men, just because men decide it's
It's just all the same. It's all the same.
It's going by the maqamat, by the musical
Yeah, exactly. Like
maqam.
it has its own rules, and we've been taught this in school. And I love Surah Al-Rahman is one of the ones I love the most, and I have it on my phone with a very exceptional tilawa from Sheikh Al-Afasi. I don't know if you know. Yeah, of course, everything. Yes, I'm sorry.
Can you introduce yourself and how do you know?
Yeah,
But there was certain
I start a circle. So I'm Dr. Amnon Khayyat. My PhD is in public health. It's not in religious studies, but I've been involved with religious studies since I was a child. It's something that really spoke to me. And it's always something that gave me peace on the inside. And the feeling of lightness, I would say. So growing up, I went into a very scientific track, learning pharmacology and then public health and community development and a PhD in public health. My graduation ceremony is in 2 weeks.
Oh,
Congratulations. Thank you.
Are you just
Jerusalem?
We'll see you there. I meet you.
Yeah, the Hebrew University. Yeah, I told you. See you there. Okay. I've known Miriam since 2017, I think. Something like 2016, 2017, I don't remember. I'm getting too old for it. And I don't remember how we met, but we started, I started getting involved with the organization's scriptural reasoning. And it's always amazing to find texts that I don't want to say complement each other in the three, in our three world religions, but
we have 5 here today.
5.
Yeah.
But it's always nice to find the topic and find out what other scriptures talk about the topic. And I feel it brings us more together as human beings, because politics keeps dividing us, and the way the actual world is designed is also to divide us. And it's very nice to find a place that unites us, even if, a little bit. A win is a win.
Yeah, even if it's all an afternoon.
Exactly.
Miriam, I think everybody knows me. Yeah. Say something. So I've had 2 paths really. Like I've been involved in scriptural reasoning since I was an undergraduate at Cambridge and got brought into it at that very early age with David Ford and others and Muslim and Christian colleagues. And after my move to Israel, continued with that under the rubric of the Faith and Belief Forum, and then moved to academia try and continue to do it where we can, and when we can. And it's really important. I very much believe in the process. I write about the process. I learn about the process. And I just feel like when we come together like this is everything. Like, this is the meaning of life for me. Natan.
I can follow that one. So, my name is Natan Levy. That's my mom. So, also, that was scriptural reasoning really early on.
Well done.
Here in your own right, and here is the sun.
And actually really came to appreciate scriptural reasoning sort of when I left the academic setting and set up in London and Marylebone as a place where to this day it's still a sustainable model. So despite everything that's happened for years and years, there'll be people who literally don't do anything else around any other interfaith gesture but are advocates and regulars at the Marylebone scriptural reasoning and will always be there, and just considering text together in ways that brings everyone together. And they're not academics, they're just people who are fascinated by sharing these texts in this way.
Hello everyone, my name is Amirit Rosen, and I, together with my husband and the other group, are the rabbis of Kilayim Avraham, which is a Jewish conservative community in Jerusalem. A very sort of community that's fairly old, was established with the neighborhood in South Jerusalem. And I've been involved for many years in interfaith dialogue, also through my parents' vocations, and also established with Jews of different streams, Orthodox, conservative and reform, and Muslim, Bedouin, and Father Piotr, who's supposed to be here, established the Interfaith Initiative in the Negev. And it was an opportunity to kind of bring interfaith dialogue as a forum to other areas and to the Negev. So very good to be here. I think Miriam and I met maybe in 2010, maybe, but it's always wonderful to meet and to learn and study together. So thank you for
Thank you for coming. Right back on your roots. Professor, what are you thought?
We call it Mammy. But I'm incredibly proud. And honored to be the mother of.
Natan.
My new name. I teach at the University of Chicago, where I teach in this medical school. Politics. I teach at the Divinity School, where I teach Jewish thought. And like almost everybody here, I love Levinas, but also Margaret Sussman and Hannah Arendt, who come to the table with me all the time. Every book, every table. And they're in my internal library. And my research has been scripture reasoning has been my joy and my pleasure, and the home of my theological work. And I've turned my attention to the problem of new technology, because I tend to do things that I'm asked to do, and I'm asked about this question by scientists. So that's why, for the last 30 years, this has been my intellectual home, my intellectual buddies, my posse, with the other people in scriptural reasoning. And yeah, I love this practice.
Jeremy Benste, I'm a fellow this year at the Maayan Institute. I'm also one of the founders of the Abraham Joshua Heschel Center for Sustainability. And while I myself have very little experience with this interfaith kind of study, it was one of the many reasons why we chose Abraham Joshua Heschel as the sort of namesake for our institute, that he was very Jewishly identified, but also very broadly accessible and involved in a lot of ecumenical and work at the time during his life. I also teach environmental ethics at Tel Aviv University, and one of my main interests, especially that the fellowship has allowed me to pursue, is actually the interaction of Judaism and economics, or a Jewish and environmental critique of contemporary economics. And in that respect, I think that we Jews actually have a lot to learn from Islam, that has a rich tradition in thinking differently about money, about finance, things like that, about debt. Yeah.
Okay, my turn. Yeah, my name Hebrew name is Raphael, and then I have come from a very long way. Because for my first 11 years, I was living in a small village, very poor village, without electricity, without very simple, just enough food to fill stomach.
In China?
In China, yeah. At that time, it's a very special time. So without tradition, we had a kind of cultural revolution. So just I was just a person thrown into the village, just alone and no education, and very interesting moments. There for me, my inner call on me, the person find out what is this world, what is that? There, something beyond the forest mountain. So something cried out, and this is my first 11 years, and then I keep the whole environment was totally atheistic, and until my graduate from university, study physics, and totally atheistic, and no one told me there's God. So I was reasoning how there's that, and theory of evolution totally nonsense. Just I cannot put it together. So it make sense. And all the things, and until one day, and someone told me that there should be a God, and it started just like my words overnight. There should be a God, so that can be make sense. So this is creator, self-creator. And after 2 or 3 years, and then when I wanted to change my job, and there was really big miracles, I found, wow, someone is really caring. This God is living God. The miracle is totally impossible. And I know, okay, that's my father, my big father. So there's the way I found, okay, I knew my parents who gave my body. I know in inner sight, that's my father. So God, my father, is just from that simple experience and knowledge, and I come to know this. And later I have some Christian background, and then also I worked in Jewish company for 6 years. It was a very interesting journey, and I came here and then joined. So then to Professor Benste, I was accepted into the Department of Jewish philosophy, and then I found this the right place where reason and liberation meets, and science and religion meets, and the Jewish world and the outside world meet. So this, but deep inside, I feel still that person's small child in the village crying out. So I come here maybe just as a simple person. And from there, it's a special perspective. I came to Jerusalem 10 years ago. Before coming here, wow, Jerusalem, something written, the city written in the Bible. There should be a beautiful place, so many good religion. Because in our mindset, religion is always bring people to become better people, nice people. And then, so 3 big religions come together. This should be a city of peace, true peace. But the reality we know. But the thing what I find here, the problem is that the people see things, see God only in their own box. God is only in my religion, in my box. And then this is the problem there. So for me, religion is the secondary. Because in that, for many years education, religion is not the most important thing. It's, because in atheist, the environment, religion is the negative word. So for me, to see the truth, really God, the God who created heaven and earth, is over all things, all people. And also from my husband, one experience have special, meaningful. Each person. First of all, I was in the one day I visited the most sacred mountain in China, called Taishan. This most important mountain. And then that day I was alone, and I went to get to the backside of the mountain, and then try to see something else. And then the sun was going down. Okay, where should I go? Should I go to the front? Most of the people go down. I saw a map. There's a road there. And another side, so I just go run alone, go alone. And then the sun went down very fast, and suddenly I was totally alone in the mountain. If nobody, I don't know what happened there. So at that moment, there can be some animals, and anything can come out. So anyone, if I can grab any person, even a robber or something, it's better than thrown into die in the mountain alone. So that is a very big experience for me. To every person is so sacred, so something there. So I think that is. So I'm sorry to come here. Maybe for me is as a simple person. Another thing that from the study here.
I would make
Yeah.
this is more close to chance. Is that okay?
Okay. Yes.
Thank you. So my name is Kamal. From Profesh is a Jews religion from Jews population here in Israel. I born in Profesh till the high school. I didn't meet any religions before, Muslims and Jewish. My first meeting was with the Jews in the army. After the high school, my Muslims friends, it was here in the university after the army. So I born in a religious home, and so we have all the education was so traditional. And I finished the university, the Hebrew University. I studied the agronomy school in and I finished my PhD in entomology. It was about the evolution of insects. This is my thesis. And now I am an agronomist in the agriculture ministry. I am responsible of the quarantine plants that coming to Israel. Every varieties, everything is new. Over we introduced insects in Israel as a biological control. So I also the head of a committee that decided to introduce, not to introduce, and to make a risk assessment of the insects, of the species. So I participated this panel, this committee before last year in Bar-Ilan. It was my first meeting.
Can you say something about the religion?
Yes, the religion. Now, actually, the religion is considered as a secret religion. But
For you.
for me, okay, I can say it doesn't secret. We practice a taqiyya at that time, during that times, because they're scared to see what we are believe. There is no tolerance for what you believe at that time. It was a very tough period of time. So the Druze, they believe in one God. Actually, we believe in the immortality of the soil. The soil could be exist all the time in the human body, just the human body. And we practiced our religion based on the Quran, on the Bible, on the Torah. So we also introduced methods from the Jewish practice, from the Islam, from the Christians. So also the Neoplatonic faith. We based the philosophy of the interpretation of the Greek philosophy. We consider as a prophets like Plato and Pythagoras, and we consider them a prophets, not a not yet. So that's all. this is the Druze. It's not secret. It was hidden. How we say we hidden. We avoided the majority in the area. So that's
My name is Amnon. What am I supposed to say? Something about the Interfaith?
Introduce yourself.
Whatever I want.
Introduce yourself.
Well, you're the sixth faith here because you're a secular theologian, right? So,
We have, I'll just say that we have the Maayan Institute at Bar-Ilan for Sustainability and Jewish Ethics and Philosophy. We have 6 fellows there today, 5 fellows there today from this year, and then we have 6 fellows from last year, so most of them are here. So when people say they're Maayan fellows, it means they're doing like a postdoctorate or a doctorate and spending a year with us. So Jeremy, Amnon, and Shira are those fellows. That's what it means when they fit.
So, what I can say about Interfaith, I didn't see anything about Catholic, Jewish encounters, but maybe that's not so interesting. One thing that I do find interesting is I'm leading a Beit Midrash in the south in Sderot for the region. Beit Midrash
study group, study house.
study group, okay, yeah. And it's combined with probably half religious people, mostly from Kibbutz and Alumim, and most of the other participants are from the other kibbutzim and from a little bit from Sderot, from Netiva. And the talk is so not interfaith, so clearly same ideas, same text, and mostly you are not really sure who brought what. I'm doing it with a religious woman from Sad, and she's but that's what I'm supposed to bring, not you. You're not supposed to bring the Talmud, and then she brings Zelda. So, but then I had one Bet Midrash that I was invited to speak in Kibbutz Dvir. In Kibbutz Dvir, the kibbutz where I grew up. And they have a Bet Midrash with people in Shomria. In Shomria are people that were in Kibbutz Shomria today. There was people who were evacuated from Gush Katif. So they were settlers type of Jews, and it was amazing to see that this is interfaith. This is interfaith. This is two religions, two ideas, and I don't know if you will believe me after what I said yesterday, but I didn't talk politics at all. I came to talk about faith, about secular theology, and reading Midrashim together. This was interfaith. These are two religions, very foreign to one another, and very desperate, very desperate. And there was no politics.
I'm Shira Barbi, I'm a fellow of Maayan Institute. I'm not a philosopher in my home discipline. My dissertation was about the environmental psychology. Until the beginning of this, I was not a philosopher. And what my next phrase was that I had this year the opportunity, which started very confusing, and then I realized that I can do it too, and then learn that the philosophy can do things in the world. And if I would not be shy at the president's house, I was too shy. But what if I would not be shy? I would say that we're all philosophers nowadays, and I wish we would find pathways to decision makers, policy makers, to the doing sphere, to change something in the world. Because when I come from the social sciences, so we make questionnaires, we interview people, we know about we can design interventions in order to change things. And I'm always stay with the question about what philosophy does in order to change things. And now I arrived to this round table, and I think that this is what I search for. This is change for me. And I bless the opportunity of doing this, of meeting. And from the 2 seconds that Amal, 2 minutes that you spoke in the large room, I realized that it's the first time I meet the Quran from a Muslim person and not from Jews who knows what's written in the Quran, especially after the October 7. Everybody knows what's written in the Quran. Everybody knows how to talk about it. And I realized that we were talking about nature and environmental sustainability, but we could equally talk about education, culture, body, whatever, because just from your 2 minutes, I realized so many
Points of action.
It was really exciting. Thank you.
So, 2 more people that we really do need to do the thing. Reading the text.
So I'm from Belfast and I'm going to introduce myself today. I have to say that I love the situation, the study together in SR, in different religions, different voices. I love to listen to people that read in the real language, in the native language, in the source. It's important for me. And one issue, you know, that at the end of the session, my ritual is to give the Amnon to the text, to read it again without saying nothing. At the end of the session, just to read it.
It's honor that I can join you all today. Yes, and my name is Maayan, and I am student of Professor Amnon.
Okay.
Where I studied in Jewish philosophy, the preparation year of the third degree.
Okay.
And my background now. Yes, I'm born in Hong Kong. Yes, I come to Israel about 9 years. And my family, my parents, they do Judaism. Judaism means we respect the forefather, the grandparents. And I grew up in Catholic kindergarten, and then all the time studies in the Christianity school and university. And my BA in Hong Kong is Bible commentary. Yes, it's related to Christianity theology. And then I come to Israel study archaeology, and after archaeology, I feel that I feel the knowledge of this land and connect to this land. It's not such the thinking of the pursuing Holy Land. It's not this one. Is I feel that I want to learn more about Judaism. Why? Because I feel that when before I come here, I writing the commentary, I following Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, his portion, yes, Torah portion, and I feel that his work is so extend my view. Seems like Raphael, he said we are in the box. I'm in the well, and see outside just a little bit. Yes, it's true. Yes, and one of the points that we very agree is Rabbi Jonathan Sachs. He said that God is only one God, and all the religions have the right to seeking God, and we respect every religion, and we can living together, or we can living together in the society harmony, and I feel that this is very extend my view, and I hope I can do it well in this area, to seeking religion.
Yeah, so we can take an hour, then have a little coffee break, and then we have another hour and a half, and it's.
I'm going to suggest that we actually, that we start with the Quran text.
Yeah.
Could you compare it at all? On creation and natural order. So we've heard it in Arabic. So would someone to read it in English? And then we two people read it in English. No, it's right. Read it in English.
Okay. The most compassionate taught the Quran, created humanity, and taught them speech. The sun and the moon travel with precision. The stars and the trees bow down in submission. As for the sky, he raised it high and set the balance of justice, so that you do not defraud the scales. Weigh with justice and do not give short measure. He laid out the earth for all beings. In it are fruit, palm trees with date stalks, and grain with husks and aromatic plants. Then which of your Lord's favors will you humans and jinn both deny? He created humankind from sounding clay like pottery, and created jinn from a smokeless flame of fire. Then which of your Lord's favors will you both deny? He is Lord of the two easts and the two wests. Then which of your Lord's favors will you both deny? He merges the two bodies of fresh and salt water, yet between them is a barrier they never cross. Then which of your Lord's favors will you both deny? Out of both waters come forth pearls and coral. Then which of your Lord's favors will you both deny?
So Anna, can you read it again?
In English?
Yeah.
Nothing Arabic?
Are you going
No. The most compassionate taught the Quran, created humanity, and taught its speech. The sun and the moon travel with precision. The stars and the trees bow down in submission. As for the sky, raised its eye, I set the balance of justice. What is the word for justice?
Mizan.
Mizan.
So it's Adala, but Mizan is like the balance.
That's not. So that you don't defraud the scales. It was justice, and do not give short measure. He laid out the earth of all beings. In it are fruits, palm tree with date stalks, and grain with husk, and aromatic plants. Then which of your Lord's favor would you humans and jinn both deny? He created humankind from something clay like pottery, and created jinn from a smokeless flame of fire. Then which of your Lord's favors will you both deny? He is Lord of the two east and the two west. Then which of your Lord's favors will you both deny? He merged the two bodies of fresh and salt water, yet between them is a barrier they never cross. Then which of your Lord's favor will you both deny? Out of both waters come forth spills and gore. Then which of your Lord's favor will you both deny?
Do you want to hear it in Arabic in the voice of
Yes.
Yes. I have it here.
So could you tell us, so where is it located in the Quran? What's
It's 55. It's Surah number 55.
And we just pause because we have a new participant who would like to join us, the photographer. It's really wonderful. I invited him to join. Is that okay? We just will say a few words.
Okay, I just want to say, because I was born 61 years ago, and my mother said, she passed away long ago, that I didn't want to eat meat. So she gives up. So as you see me, it's 61 years without meat as a vegetarian. Actually, I think that people born they are vegan in the original, and then they change to or vegetarian or eating everything. But it brings me to think, but in the meaning of know thyself or who am I. That it's a part of coming from maybe previous generation, previous born with Gilgul Kodem, something like that, because you meet, you see the world, you see everybody, you sit with when you're a child or when you grow up, and everybody it's different. I feel like I'm an Elliot, and it come with the kind of problem. I remember when I was in a kindergarten, and I was sitting and prayed every day that there will be a sandwich with chocolate and not with pastrama, because even though I was hungry, I would stay hungry. Yeah, it was crazy, and then so. It brings me to believe that all the relationships with you talk about the fauna world and all the animals you spoke yesterday, to feel like when you see a horse or something like that, it's so strong, so energy, and it's a vegetarian,
He eat weeds.
Huh?
He made his muscle from the weeds.
Yeah.
So we'll come back now to the text and then we'll.
Yeah, that's it.
To bring you into the discussion. Okay.
Maybe the translation is not so correct. He translated marriage, the two bodies.
The two bodies of water.
Yeah, but
It
it's
can
not
also
marriage.
be translated to
Marriage it's to make it one. But in the eye, they say the two rivers or two kinds of water can't be marriage because there is.
No, يلتقيان. They meet.
They meet.
They meet.
Okay. Maybe.
So that strikes you as cool.
Yeah, because the wisdom is the two kinds of water doesn't marriage, doesn't be together.
There is a barrier between them, an invisible barrier between them that doesn't allow them to mix.
It's in chemical, you have to do flocculation to make it the water marriage.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الرحمن علم القرآن خلق الإنسان علمه البيان الشمس والقمر بحسبان والنجم والشجر يسجدان والسماء رفعها ووضع الميزان ألا تطغوا في الميزان وأقيموا الوزن بالقسط ولا تخسروا الميزان والأرض وضعها للأنام فيها فاكهة والنخل ذات الأكمام والحب ذو العصف والريحان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان خلق الإنسان من صلصال
So
Welcome to my world.
Yes. So what strikes you, colleagues, about this?
One thing that I find, maybe I don't know the tradition around it, and so on. But the thing that I find very interesting is the order of things. That first taught the Quran, then created humanity, then taught them speech. While speech is needed to read the Quran. And it's so interesting that, and then 2 lines afterwards, the idea that the sky was raised for justice, or raising the sky means justice. Somewhat maybe a little bit close to ethics before ontology. Islamic ethic before ontology.
Not Islamic. Divine ethic.
The divine. The structure of that.
It's, as much as I understand the text, if you look at the sky, you look at the people, you look at the water, you will see that the nature of God is justice. And there are a lot of things that you can find in them. But you don't look at them, you deny them.
Yeah.
This is the reason you need the text.
And balance as well.
So
Justice and
the
balance.
structure.
Justice and balance.
The structure
is very important. Balance is
So
very
here's all these
important.
wonderful things, and then are you denying? The question is, why are you denying them? Right? So here's the structure. Justice is in the structure. Beauty and justice in the structure. What's wrong with you, Jim and pigments that you're denying? I'm fond of the gin. I think it's.
Can you say a bit more about the gin?
Oh, we can talk about
Then we talk about the gin. And the thing with the gin, the animals come to the gin to complain about the humans.
We're created from
So,
smokeless flame
Smokeless
of fire.
flame
Is that
of fire.
free will?
They have free will. They can communicate with animals whilst we can't. They have their own language that we do not understand, but they do understand human language. So God has given them abilities that He has not given us.
But why do they deny the word?
Because they have the abilities to cross over seas without using ships and to teleport to different places. Like they have, their lives are easier.
Yeah,
I would say.
What's amazing is that he turns to both working well. He turns
Both
to
language.
language. Why do you both deny my word? And I'm, because I'm used to the Jewish scripture that says humans deny, humans but jinns they can't deny.
And Islamic belief, the only prophet that was able to communicate with jinn is Sayyidina Sulaiman. So he used to be able to talk to animals and jinn. He was also able to control jinn. And he could recruit a whole army of them that regular people cannot see. And win wars and win fights. And he was the Lord of all human beings. That he is the Lord of all human beings after being taught the word of God. So the Quran here, it can mean many things. It could mean the actual holy book that Allah gave to the Prophet Muhammad. It could also mean the essence of God's will and God's existence. It could also mean the ability to comprehend. So Quran also comes from the word qira'ah, which is reading. But qira'ah is not just reading, it's also comprehension. It's being able to understand what the other person is saying and making sense of the words and the letters. So maybe that's also part of why it is the first thing in the order here.
But it does seem like in the beginning was the word, in our story that God does creation with the Torah in some way, we understand. But also notice that the equivalent of the beginning of the book of John.
And even the name and the first verse is Ar-Rahman, which is the most merciful. So he is reminding us that the essence of our existence is mercy. And what we should have is not just justice and balance, should also come with mercy. It's not just about making things equitable for people, it's equity. It's
So for someone who's never seen this text before, what strikes you about this text?
I was going to say the opposite, that it seems like what keeps us from denying is that it's made for us, the fruit, the coral, the pearls. But then it becomes very human-centered. Like, oh, the world is great because we can just sit here and just, all these fruits and stuff. But then does that say that there's no place in the world that will, like nature in its own right, here it exists for us?
You don't have to answer every question. You have
No, I think
That's a really good
it's-
question. If anybody else wants to
it's
answer,
thoughts,
think
it's
about it.
fine.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, two things. First of all, just rhetorically, the idea that phrase, of which of your Lord's favors will you both deny, is used as a refrain. It's very powerful that it comes again and again and again. And you sort of read it as an assumption, like, why are you denying this? And I didn't read it that way. I thought, like, it's like, of course you can't deny this, or how could you possibly deny this? These are, divine favors. So, would you dare to deny this? I mean, so it sounds almost like it's definitely not assuming that humans are living in some sort of denial. It's more an invitation to come close and not.
There's something about the invitation that is interesting.
Yeah.
Right, it's a question. So it assumes that I'm standing here, listening to the questions too. It assumes leadership.
It reminds me of a rabbinic story, also maybe know it, about the person who went and saw a very ugly person, and he said, "Oh my God, how ugly are you?" And then he told him, "I'm ugly. Go to the who made me, and go bring your complaints to him." So it took me like, how can you deny? And particularly that we as humans, we deny things because the world is so complex in reality. So they have beautiful dates and fruits, but they also have ugly persons, and so denying.
And to think of the time of when this verse was given, not just to human beings, but also to the jinn. It was a time of turmoil. It was a time where there were so many non-believers. So when the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ came to his people used to worship statues. They didn't worship God, and you can worship God directly. You don't need a statue to be a connection between you and God. And there were so many non-believers that didn't believe.
So this was in Mecca?
It was in Mecca, and it was in other places, like for example during the war with Persian, for example, because they didn't believe in God at that time. They believed that their ruler was the God. But if you're talking to people who either don't believe or have doubt, we really just, but the amazing thing about this verse is that it doesn't just talk to humans. So apparently something was going on in the jinn world we don't know about. If King Solomon was here, he would know about it, but we couldn't. I didn't find a text or a story about Prophet Muhammad being able to communicate with jinn or to see them. But it's a reminder that the Quran is not just for us as humans. It reminds us there is a parallel world. There are other creatures that we cannot see. And if you don't believe in the seen, how can you believe in the unseen?
One of the words that strikes me about this text is the word both.
Jinn and people.
Yes.
Both feel
It is,
united.
this is
But the
only
term, there's just the term. We just want to, in sort of scriptural reasoning way, there's this notion that there's two of you, and they're both together the seen and unseen. That's it's really striking. Every word is important, right? So every word carries something. I think this word both is like the word with, in
Do something equal, if you say.
there's something equal.
So the gen and the human should be equal.
They're equal, they're partners in this, right?
They're on the same party, I think.
Yeah. Which is a very strange idea. It's strange what idea that is, right?
God speaking with the same level with both.
It's also, the world is more unknown than known in this text. It's fundamentally non-human control.
Even it's written here, Al-Jan, not Al-Jin, Al-Jan. I think there is the plural of Tzachi.
The plural form, yes.
Are there two classes of them, or what is it?
There are classes, there are tribes as well. It's very interesting to learn about King Solomon and his interactions with them, because he was the only one who went to what we might call the underworld. But it's not really the underworld, it's just the invisible world. It's like a portal that you go through. It sounds so science fiction, but it takes a lot of belief and a lot of faith to believe in an unseen world that might affect us and might not. And balance or the justice of creating the earth and everything in the earth, not just for human beings, but also for the unseen creatures, because they are God's creatures. And whether it's basically saying that nothing is made in vain. Everything has a purpose. Everything.
Are you explaining the Mashriqain and Maghribain? It's two easts and two wests. The
It
meaning.
depends on where you were standing. So it's not of the four directions.
You wrote here, رب المشرقين ورب المغربين. It's two, twice. Twice east and twice west.
So where was the Prophet of Israel? He was in Saudi Arabia. What's to his east? And what is to his west? And then when Islam went to Iran and Far East Asia, what is the east there and what is the west there? So instead of the four directions of south and north, it's about east and west, because people at that time only knew east and west. The sun rises from here and it sets here. They didn't have the compasses, they didn't have the technology to see a wider world. It was just about east and west.
So the two easts are like two directions of the east, and two directions of the west?
Not from the same standpoint. So when you were in Saudi Arabia, look at what is on the east there. When you were in Far East Asia, look at the east there. So
the world.
yeah. So for example, in Far East Asia, the west there was the Islamic Empire, for example.
Okay, but this is, right, so I'm just trying to think, just stick to the text, right? So in the text, what were you thinking about?
There is the word Wa'aqimu. There is Wa'aqimu. We speak about Kilayim. This is the same meaning. Also it's
Where was this?
Wa'aqimu al-Wasna.
So we can move to the
Likayim.
Which number? Which verse?
Which verse?
Verse 9.
Yes.
No.
It's a direct order for both
Way with justice
human
and
and
and not give short measure.
So the Kilayim is way?
Do not defraud.
where this nine in English it's before the verse. Way, just with the short measure.
Yeah.
From the scales.
Yeah, way
Also,
with
that's
justice.
like balancing.
במקום לשקול זה לקיים את המצווה.
באמת?
כן, כן. כן, תודה.
For the European, I want to say one sentence about the idea that we have here, because I found thinking about the gene a lot. Now, not on my life. Now,
30 years I was thinking about the genie.
no, I'm not.
There's a great novel, The Genie and the Golem.
Yeah, of course.
It's a wonderful novel. The Genie and the Golem.
The material of the universe.
A Jewish folk writer. It's a wonderful novel about immigration.
In the Greek, we have four sort of four basic elements of the creation of the universe. But in the Quran, Islam, there are five. Because there are the water, the fire, the air, the ground, the clay, and the light. It's different.
In Chinese also 5 different ones.
Yeah. And the light is for the angels. The fire for the jinn.
No, so smokeless fire is for the jinn, but fire itself is Satan and the
Yeah, but the same
origin.
same origin, same element.
Yeah.
And the clay for people, the water for the animals, and the air is something else that is so important for everything. This is the air of the spirit of the divine spirit. So the balance is not only the materials, the balance is with all the people that live. Not people, but
creatures
that lives. And to make this balance is so complicated because the jinn has their emotion, the people, not you, but other human beings have their emotions. And the denial is not only to say something, it's not to be kafir, not to be kufil, not to be racist. It's to behave against the nature, like the balance against the universe. Something very important in this balance were made in the universe. And for me, the Kilayim in Hebrew and in Arabic is almost the same now. Not everywhere, because as Yehudah wonderful say, there's a lot of meanings, different. I didn't think about it before, but this, what do you say, manifa?
Diversity.
Manifa is a fan, but like a
No,
spectrum.
The spectrum. The spectrum. I'm looking for that. It's a wonderful word, manifa. The spectrum of all these kind of things. But here, there is one issue that is very important. The balance. And the balance is justice. And this is the way that you create.
Can I take off something from? Yeah. No, just because what struck me about the mention of the balancing of the scales of justice, putting here in the description of the creation of the cosmos and nature, is that there's no kayamut in the Tanakh, as Yehudah showed. It's a recent word, but the closest concept is the idea of leman yarichun yamecha al pnei adama. We should live long lives on the earth, intergenerationally. And there are 3 mitzvot, commandments, for which that is the reward, leman yarichun yamecha. And one of the central commandments is that you weigh things justly, right? So it's exactly the same concept, that something about that equity and the fairness and not defrauding between people is something that is connected to kind of the establishment of the natural order.
It was shocking to see it, I must say, in the middle of the creation story.
Right.
Well, wait a minute, what's justice doing there? I was going along with the order, and then some of the judgments brought up. Very interesting.
If I can, what I like about this verse is that not only does it talk to both humans and children, but it also talks about how much you take from nature. And how much you take from nature should be done by the scales, should be done according to your need. Don't overdo it. It's something about greed, basically. And it's how to think and how to create something that you have all these resources, right? You have the seas and you have the corals and you have the pearls and you have the land and you have the animals and the trees. But how to not overdo it. By the scale, you take only what you need and you leave the rest. And this is part of sustainability. Because it's not just justice for you, it's also, as you said, it's justice for the generations to come.
For all beings.
Yeah. Exactly. Like defrosting, for example, is against the nature of Islam. Just take what you need and leave the world balanced.
Yeah. We have to take a break, right?
Yeah. But you know the ritual.
Okay. One more time.
Wait, before we go to the ritual, do you want me to tell you about the last verse?
I think we have to take a break. No, okay. Yeah. You hear it differently the second time. It's something I learned from poem. He said, always read the poem twice. You hear it differently the second time.
So now you read it in English.
Is also indicated in the Bible. Yes.
Well, we're not done. Okay. The most compassionate topic around created humanity in tone of speech. The sun.
In the second
No, the sun, the moon travel, precision. The stars and the trees bow down in submission. As the sky, we raised her high and set the balance of justice. To lead it on the throne of scales. Weigh with justice and do not conflict nation. He laid out the earth for all beings. In it are fruit, tree, stalks, and grain with husks and aromatic ones. Then which of your Lord's favors were your demons and jinn both from time? He created humankind from sounding clay and concrete. He created jinn from smokeless flame and fire. Then which of your Lord's favors were you both denied? He is the Lord of the two easts and the two wests. Then which of your Lord's favors were you both denied? He merges the two bodies of fresh and salt water, yet between them is a barrier they never cross. Then which of your Lord's favors will you both deny? Out of both waters come forth pearls and coral. Then which of your Lord's favors will you both deny? I have to explain that both pearls and pearls are salt.
Yes, but we're doing a coffee break, so
It does feel like that.
do that as well.
But then so.
אבל לא שמעתי. לא מעניין, או שכן?
Where is the beautiful Greek? Okay, so we can't read it in Greek. So we should read it in English.
It's Greek to me.
You know what they say in France when they mean that? They say it's Hebrew to me.
Really?
That's the exotic, not understood language.
Right.
It's so nice to be accepted.
Exactly. Okay, well, we do it in English.
Is there anyone that can read in Greek?
Not in this moment, but maybe.
I learned 1 year, but I can't remember. I remember Theo and Glutes, something like this.
It's more than we know.
Bluff your way.
Yeah. We can, okay.
Colossians. For in him all things in heaven and on earth were created, things visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or powers. All things have been created through him and for him. He himself is before all things, and in him all things hold together.
Why don't you read it again in English?
English, okay. Not this is visible. A little bit.
You got a little bit of Greek?
Yeah.
You wanted to do a little bit of Greek?
I'm not try, okay, I'm not sure. For he and all and he sang ta panta and toys ora noise kai and he and pai taste things ha ora ta kai ta ao rata ote thro noi ente kuris entes ente ara akai ente infio siolai ta pang ta di auto kai ens auton eti style kai auto is in pro pantong kai ta panta ein auto on next day kai
Yes.
Okay? And again in English.
For Russian. For in him all things in heaven and on earth were created, things visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or powers. All things have been created through him and for him. He himself is before all things, and in him all things hold together.
Does anyone know anything about the location of this?
What's the title of the book? Colossians.
What is Colossians?
The letter to the
Letters.
Place.
It's one of Paul's letters to these people, Colossians.
Okay. So what's
That's it, that's all I know.
strange for me is that all things have been created through him and for him, which is very different because in Judaism he created, but for us. And here he created through him, for him, and for himself. Him is the...
So assuming him is God?
I think
First of all, him, who is him? Who is him? This is the first, thank you, Jeremy. It starts with this, and then I translate from Judaism, so I guess all, with the words of all and all things, and also it was the God. And then this is true, it's the first question, who is him? It starts with this.
But the last letter, he himself is before all things, and in him all things hold together. This is something considered the God that it was before. But the first, the creation for Jesus.
Yeah.
And all things hold together. To uphold is also in Kilayim. So I was thinking yeah, so in him all things hold together. I could imagine that if it was translated then into Hebrew, then one of the words that could be used would be also to Kilayim.
I'm interested in this visible and invisible because it's like, oh, Jim, and this notion of the invisible world that's so resonant in these texts. And then I go around as a crafts materialist thinking the that I know the thing, that I know that things are true. And then but there's, that thing about space, which is that most of space is empty and unknown. But we used to call junk DNA, and turns out it's not. It's all important. So that there's this invisible world in God. God made a world which was visible, that invisible world of its strength.
I feel this is visible and invisible. It's defined the human being, because other created it's considered to be how we say God can see everything. A human being can see something.
Right.
But in a scientific, so the whole spectrum of the thing, all we can see is very, very little. I think cats can see better. Yeah, we have all the so we human beings are very limited.
And there are colors that our eyes and our optical nerve cannot process. When those colors are visible to our creatures,
Like bees and things.
as I said, animals, exactly.
In your insects.
And even frequency.
Yes, of course.
In Hebrew, one of the words for the word is lamp, like invisible, lamp, which we don't see. This is the term in Hebrew for the word, lamp. It's like the things we don't see the real reality. So maybe when they talk about invisible, so it's the order that cannot be seen.
That's terrific. The other thing I thought is that I'm thinking a lot about the things we make, so AI and technology. And there's a way that people think of it as like the natural world is God's world, but this other stuff is these things we make. But of course, these things we make are God's
Also
things too, right? They're also
God's
God's
work. If they're a tool, AI is his tool.
This is his tool.
But maybe the intention, the purpose, these are things we cannot see.
Well,
the real order.
Maybe this thing a little bit. But the thrones or dominions or rulers or powers, and all this power.
The spiritual things also.
That they're all also God.
Power.
Right? All this is
connects to the last line that he himself is before all things, and in him all things hold together. So him being before all things, we also have this notion in Islam and the Quran that God is first. We came afterwards, who are creatures that are made by God.
It's a powerful thing to say when you're sitting around the Roman Empire and at risk. It's obviously it's also a serious risk of killing. Right? And so it's very subversive to say that thrones and dominions and rulers and powers.
It's all things of, and he didn't say the powers and the powerless. He doesn't say the dominion and the
dominated.
He just talks about power, the seemingly upper state. So maybe it's like, that can sound like a warning, like all you think is the power in this world, like the dominion and the thrones and the rulers. I'm above this, what you call power. What you see as exemplifies of power, I'm above all the power you see here. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Thrones could be translated as kursi, Arsh, throne. Kursi is the kisei, or the no kisei.
כיסא מלכות.
כיסא מלכות, throne. אבל זה לא, יש לזה, there is a deeply meaning.
And saying in him all things hold together, it reminds me also of balance.
Your balance scales, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Balance.
Well, there's a deep order
Yeah.
that we can't see.
I wonder where we talk about the primacy of ethics, like where that leaves us if we see all things as created by God, including the things that we create, because we're created by God, and so therefore, second order sort of, it almost doesn't take into account free will and the ability for human beings to do bad or evil, and the idea that everything holds together will, because of some divine force, that would make us perhaps assume that they will hold together, but then what if they don't hold together, or what if we end up,
It's close to some really bad theology.
Yeah.
Right, that like, oh, it's just, whatever.
Right.
Right, we have no agency. Yeah. We don't want to do that. I mean, I'm going to be for that, this is going to be terrible, but it is compelling.
Why is it, did you say bad theology?
It's very close to some bad theology.
Why is it not
It's
secular theology?
It's the room next door to good theology. Something you can take a bad term, right?
And why isn't that secular theology that all things are brought out together or they are not?
It's not secular or not secular, but the idea, if God is all powerful and does everything, and everything we do comes from God, because we come from God, it I think leads to a complacency. Everything will be fine. God doesn't, whatever legitimate theologies about whether God does evil in the world or it does things that we don't see as necessarily good, but if we can recognize our own ability to do evil in the world, then we will just make peace with everything that happens. I don't think that's a very good strategy.
And it's difficult to then recognize and judge evil, to
Right.
see evil and say this is evil. Right. And we have to stop that. This can't go wrong. So it makes judgment difficult. And agency difficult.
I would like to think about it as a letter, not as an announcement, not as a scripture that is testimony. It's a letter to someone. Paul sent it to the community in Kolsia. He wanted them to do something. And
That's why it looks like that it's Jesus, because he wants them to think, to know Jesus, that's his job, right?
I'm not sure if it's.
You think it's just God there?
It looks to me that it's
Can you say that again?
I'm saying that I'm not sure that he here is Jesus, that I think one can understand it as God. I mean, I don't know the text well enough, and I don't know exactly at what point it's written,
But you raise the option that he is Jesus and not God? Okay.
To the extent that Jesus is not God,
Yeah.
this is Jesus, not God.
He is the instrument of God's creation. In John, at least, that's the theological claim. Right? That Jesus is.
But who stands above all?
Right, and there's this in him, the in him things, that the in makes it just, the word in. Right.
Yeah, we are also in
Not
him.
mine.
We are also in him, not only Jesus.
Yeah.
Listen,
In a different way, because Jesus is God.
Right.
Because in my understanding that after they describe that Jesus after resurrection, he sits next to God, so they feel everything that mentioned about God also mentioned about Jesus.
But was he before all things? He's a human being after all.
Yeah.
So most of this, he's not a human being.
Well,
He's
the-
human
the-
being in the flesh and divine in the spirit.
Yeah, but you have a great point. What was before all this creation, before us, before Jesus, before Moses?
He was not created. Jesus.
He was not created. He was by the Ruach HaKodesh.
Begotten,
Yeah.
not made.
He was made.
Begotten, not made.
when the Spirit of God is in His Son, in Jesus, everything is here is in Jesus. You have to believe.
Yeah.
When the Spirit of God, it's all. His task is to
It's just
persuade
great.
everyone
Yeah.
that Jesus is the Son. Is the Son in the meaning that God in Him.
And is the Messiah, by the way.
Is the Son, but he's
He doesn't, because in Paul's teaching, Jesus is the Messiah. He's not yet God. And the Trinity thing hasn't happened.
Yeah, I feel
That's
more like
slightly,
a
that happens later, right?
Is that an academic reading or faith-based reading?
That
there's chronology
when
here.
they begin to think about,
What do you mean academic? This is the truth.
yeah. When Christians they talk about it.
No,
it's
no,
split.
the faith
It's
here.
a part of God.
We need someone to defend it.
And at this point, it's What?
I was wondering who chose the texts. Father
You
Puritan?
know this.
Father Puritan.
And from the philosophical perspective, I try to understand the reality. And then it came out very interesting that, so this the first, there's several terms came out, so I talk with objectivity and say, okay, so this the secondary reality what we are living. And then, okay, about ultimate reality. And then later it came out, okay, there's another thing that's called first order. And so this all from political terms. So before, just like in Jewish perspective, there's Torah before the creation. The whole creation is before, before creation there's Torah. And then also in Greek, some different terms, just like logos or one or something, to point out something, this intermediate between the creating word, creating reality or something. So ultimate reality, I think from Rambam is the God, about God, okay, all pointing to there, God. And there's one called first order, like Torah or logos, or here maybe Jesus or something before. There's all point there. And then through this and come out the creative world, also called second reality or creative reality, what we are living in. So I think that this can help us to understand from different perspective. Okay, well, what's it about?
What do you think this text tells us though about that order?
But because if all things here, because just like even not also different things, one or something is there. And through this, all things in Neo-Platonic book is this called emanation, also even from Taoist text, okay, there's something give birth one by one level to another. There's something before all things created. So we know all things is a God there, and then there's a medium, and then through this, all things come down. So I think from many different religions and also philosophers all point out this kind of three level of things.
I have to ask, do we need to believe in God and Jesus that the world will stand, or there is no need for that? This is the truth. You want or not, you know or not, it's not important. What is the meaning of this knowledge?
So for knowledge,
if we don't believe it, you mean?
Yeah.
If you don't believe that Jesus.
I do it. When Paul sent it to the community,
yeah.
And I want you to know, I want you to believe, I want you to trust. Okay, that's amazing. And if not,
I'm a Colossian. Let's say I'm a random Colossian, and I get this letter.
yeah, that's the question.
Yeah. Like, how does this change my life? Right. Well, maybe I'm not. I don't worship where I like things too. I mean, like things. I'm kind of not to care about things. Right. I care about things and the people and the creatures and the animals and stuff. It's hard to just think about. Well, you know, there was a moment before there was anything in the world, and because it creates an instability in in existence. It feels hard to believe in the real. But it says yet another text about an invisible world, a world that exists with me or without me, with things that I love, with things I don't. It's right. So maybe maybe we're supposed to be destabilized in that way.
I think one of the biggest parts of the invisible world is God Himself. We cannot see Him, but we do have to.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's like
Now you think leads to the fellowship?
yeah.
Nah, not that.
It was like
But I would like to ask you, and if I know that there is invisible God, does that change my life?
If you know or don't know, you know there's.
If I know, no, okay. If I don't know,
Okay.
I'm ignorant. It's okay.
No,
But you got his letter.
If I know,
Right, this letter
there
tells
is
you.
a God.
she sent me a letter.
Yeah.
Right, she
Tell
said,
me the truth.
Yes.
You have to know that there is invisible God. You don't know about him, but this is the
and before
everything is
I think.
okay. What's happening now? Next step.
I
Okay.
think the source of all things entails responsibility. If one is accepting or experiencing the fact that there is a common source that also demands of me certain things, behavior, then it entails responsibility, and it entails also a certain kind of behavior.
We're not in the text. We're
And
like in
accountability.
it might mean that this king.
And accountability.
accountability.
It also might mean that this king and who's oppressing me and this Roman that's walking around with a sword and a cool armor is really meaningless on some level. I don't have to be afraid of that guy. Maybe that's part of it, right? But I really believe this.
Why not? He's stronger than the ruler of the tower.
Yeah.
So why shouldn't you be afraid of him?
Afraid of the
I'm
policeman,
not
afraid of
see,
the...
it allows me a horizon beyond the visible horizon.
I'm
Beyond
not
the
afraid from the
dominant,
rulers
yeah.
and powers.
Yeah,
Okay,
yes.
I understand.
Right?
Yeah.
My world, my Croatian world, right, with the Mediterranean, is the wrong idea. Because it's like in the Republic, right? There's notion of get out of the cave, baby, because there's something beyond this thing you see, and the beyondness is God, right? Is Him, whatever it is. In the same way that there's the real that you see, the perceptible world, isn't the real world.
So you answered Hanoch by claiming it's not about the duties or what I have to do or where I can or not working, but about the emotional world. If it does change my life in the manner that I'm not afraid, it's a life changer not to be afraid. Okay.
Well, Islam was rising as a religion. People believing that there is a God that is bigger than the powers that existed at that time is what gave them peace. It gave them faith and it gave them the willingness to fight back. Without that, they were just oppressed. Oppressed because they were slaves, oppressed because they belonged to a lower class of people, oppressed because they're different, just oppressed, basically. And the oppressed were some of the first people to believe in Islam, but also people who were not oppressed also believed in Islam, like Abu Bakr and other wealthy people, I would say. Now, this faith brought them from worshipping stones and figures and statues that they didn't believe in, to steering the conversation towards I can have my own faith, and I believe in a God that I don't see, but that God is more powerful than the people who are oppressing him. And that gave them the courage and the will to fight. And even when people died, there is a verse that is given to the prophet. It says, "Don't be sad, God is with us."
So the beginning of this as a Muslim, What is it saying to you? You read it as a Muslim, you're reading the Christian text, right? So it's 6 centuries before Islam. So what do you read as? What do you think?
For me, it's all connected. For me, I don't see that disconnect if the verses are talking about God himself. And I would read it with my understanding that the verses are talking about God himself. Because we do believe that he was before all creation. And we do believe that he has the ultimate power. But that also gives me some kind of reassurance that the people who did me wrong and the people who are oppressing others, they will be held accountable. They will be responsible for their actions. And when I do good deeds, I'm also responsible and accountable for my actions. And God is telling me to create justice and balance and use what he gave me to my advantage, but not overuse it. It tells me about a certain power, a higher power, to believe in, to reassure me that no king will live forever, no oppressive regime will live forever. Those who have power over people, it is superficial power, and the real power exists in the hands of our creators. Because even if a king has 7,000 soldiers,
Or jinn, as the case may be.
or jinn,
If
if God wills for him to have a heart attack and die, he will have a heart attack and die.
Because about this lecture is yes, is to comfort people, not to afraid, right? In Colossians, they are on the way to go to missionary there, and then they send back the letter to Jerusalem to comfort their friends. So they write this in the beginning, and then later they will talk about how you do to the neighbors, how you comfort the church, and how to training them and teaching them something like this. That's why this kind of works will come out from this book beginning.
Okay, you framed it within the context.
Yeah, because if suddenly write this, you will think why, in what situation they write these works. Is it right?
Yeah. That's wonderful.
I don't know.
There are two letters that Paul deals with in question of verse. This is one of them. The other was Thessaloniki. I'm not convinced by that. That's the problem. There is a we read it again, and then Greek, and then there is a song from the Jewish liturgy. Adon Olam Hashem Melach, the King of the world, the King of the universe, or ruled. The term called it's in Hebrew. It's
before everything was created.
Yeah. And it's very complicated. It's complicated. And complicated words in Hebrew also. And you teach the kids this song, that they have to believe that there is a God for everything. Before the world, after the world, during the world, everything is God. And my feeling is the same. And I'm sorry, I'm not cynic, I'm very serious. So what? Is that responsible? You use the words accountability before. And if there is something that you influence on, you are influenced by, I may understand your responsibility. What's the name of that?
But if everything is God, okay.
But
No, I've seen. Go ahead.
What can I do?
Yes.
Okay.
I think, first of all, I think there can be a few levels of understanding that may contradict, but they don't contradict. Like that on a logical level may contradict, and on a spiritual level, I think do not contradict. The idea of, right, the famous saying of where is God, where you let him in, right? That saying talks about a presence. Doesn't mean that the presence doesn't exist without, but when we invoke blessed are you, or we make a presence stronger. Doesn't mean that presence is not there. But if you, so believing that everything is part of God, I think that I sense that that is true, but at the same time, when there is free will, and when people choose, and when people do bad things that affects others, and so you could logically say, well, that shows that God is not present everywhere. It's like the famous Midrash, where Cain and Hevel, right? Cain says to God, why did you allow this to happen? You know, if you are all powerful, how could I have been killed? Right? So, but I think in all our religions we hold both these truths at the same time. They are contradictory to some level, but I think that we hold them, that on the one hand, we experience the presence of God, but we also believe in the agency of human beings, and that human beings have been given that opportunity together with the accountability that is only there when you have the possibility of behaving in different ways. And the idea of creation, or the idea of all human beings being from one source, is an ethical story. This idea of God creating the world, it has an ethical meaning to it. The meaning is that there is importance in each and everything, and that there is a responsibility and accountability. So the story of creation is a story, but it's a story designed to share that meaning with us as a story. And the story of all human beings created from one God. I'm not saying that that story is not true, but I'm saying that the story is true in the meaning of what it tries to tell us, that we are all connected, that we are a family,
as
that
long
we have
as you are a
responsibility.
believer.
But that's the meaning. But I'm saying that's the meaning of the believing. Why? What's the meaning? That is the meaning of that believing that. The meaning of that story is.
This is the meaning that you give to this believing.
No, I'm saying, לפיכך נברא אדם יחידי, right? And which also is in the Quran, right? That whoever kills one person, it's as if you killed the whole world, and whoever, right? What does it mean, that story? It means the importance of each and every person. I mean, that's it. Right, it's a story.
Okay, but here's
that is trying to convey that's the meaning of the belief. The belief is not, it's not that we believe in God because it's fun, or it's not that we believe in God because it's, I mean, you could say because it's my culture, because I'm scared that something will happen to me if I don't believe in God, because I think I'll go to hell if I don't believe in God. I mean, there are people that this is the reason for the belief.
It's not absolute meaning.
Right. But here the ethical meaning of believing in God is what does that belief that the world has been created, what does that mean? The fact that all humanity is for one person, it has an ethical meaning to it.
But also reality, but for me it's more about reality, what really happened there. It's not only, okay, we impose our meaning on this, but it teaches me how we know, no matter what we perceive, the reality. This is what I try to find all the time. But for me, I came from totally the atheist background for a very long time. In that time, they try to really something, try to call out, even from childhood, try to find unless when someone told me this God, it suddenly made sense. The whole world just made sense, just like that time on. And then also after it took me several years, there was a pivotal moment that I worked for 15 years.
Let's go back.
Okay. I mean, that's
stay with the text. Back to the text.
There's, I think, is for me, my life is changed and like this with God. We know that He's in everything. He's a power, all things. So in 2006, I'm really okay. God, you are in control. So I think, okay, I gave up my own decision.
But okay, so what if it's not God? What if it's Jesus? And that's important, I think, to me. That Paul is not going around just talking about God. He's going around talking about Jesus to these people who don't know this.
I don't think it really matters.
I'm not sure. I think that's interesting to me that they're both, that there's that, at least there's that. What we know about this story is that that's what's important. Right? That's what changes him. He was a Jew. And he saw the Jew who believes in, presumably believes in God, and has a gig collecting taxes, but he's a Jew who shows up at synagogue. As does everybody. It's all the guys. They're still going to synagogue. They're acting as Jews.
They were also these Jewish guys.
Yeah. But his.
I call him Shaul. I used to call him Shaul.
Yeah, Shaul is here, and so but he's. The thing that he's doing, there's letter after letter after letter, travel after travel, is this thing happened. The Messiah came. And you have to know this. So I think that's the interesting thing. So, and I, as someone who doesn't believe that Jesus was the Messiah, read this text, it's a real challenge to me to think, isn't this interesting? Right? Isn't this powerful?
It's interesting.
What shows is that here are people, and by the way, effectively, billions of people. He can, Saul the Jew, convinced billions of people eventually. The entire Roman Empire crumbles before this assertion. This is more powerful, this knowledge, this gospel is more powerful than the Roman Empire. Right? The unimaginably powerful world, everything about the world you know.
So the challenge is the numbers, or the challenge is the content?
The structure of the world.
Content.
Content. The structure of the world as you know it, Colosseum, right? The structure of the world as you know it is wrong. It's just wrong. Everything you think is true is just not true.
Why is it wrong or not subjected? It's not wrong, it's just subjected.
It's just not, ultimately it's not true. Ultimately the really true thing is this word that I'm teaching you, this story that I'm teaching you. And you have to trust that. I would say that's where you get your trust. And that's why it's dangerous, because to give your trust to not believe in this world and is terrifying. But clearly persuasive, that's why there's so many Christians.
I want to.
But
I think it's not about abandoning this world. Because sometimes the religious or the spiritual over there, but religious just like the cup, the physical world cup, the meaning we put inside. This is the thing. So to be religious doesn't mean I deny the existence of this cup. But okay, for our daily life, we still do the daily life, but we don't need to go to mountain to hide away or to be spiritual. But in our daily life, how we can put inside the meaning. So do the things in the just of things. So bring into the meaning of things rather than denying the physical world.
I want to suggest that there are not balance between two, but there are three options of way of life.
Mm-hmm.
One of the power, one of the ethics, and one of faith. And the question is, what is the option that holds, that keeps the world in its way? And usually we think that the power is the most important. That's the feeling. Politics and militarism, violence and nature and everything, power. Technology. The other options is ethics. Justice is the most important. To do the right things, the tzedek, the
Accountability. Yeah.
This is the way this is one way that you think.
The way of the Quran.
Don't ask if the Quran
was here. It was here.
It was here? Yeah.
In the Quran. What we read in the Quran.
Okay, of course.
Justice. God is justice.
Justice.
This is the sign. And the other options is the belief. Faith, the belief in God. That's the story. Everything is nothing. That is the story.
Why is belief and ethics separated?
It's not separated.
It's just different.
All the three options are not separated.
Because I feel
but
when
what
you
is
say
the meaning, of course?
Trust, like I would say that maybe in using the word belief, maybe it sounds more separated.
No,
but if you use trust.
No, when you said we hope that in one way or another, in one word or another, the justice, the power, the ethics, the power, and God will unite. But in our world, in my world, it's not. And I will tell you why.
Why?
This morning there was talking in the president residence, and I used the words of Stephen Katniss about commitment to good. And then Katalin Sharia said, well, the problem is that people will say good and do bad.
That is true.
And
that
so,
is true.
where is
And what justice?
with the name of God, people do
right.
terrible things.
Yeah, terrible.
So when I ask myself not about the balance between the three, how to deal with that, and I suggest, and then I come back to the text. Before the text, it's categorization of the words. So the power is one option, how to live in the world. Justice is another option, and faith. Sometimes it's okay, it's together.
השופט כל הארץ לא יעשה משפט. Don't you think the
Great.
judge of all, the judge of all
this is the
things will
question.
not do?
No.
That's
This is the great idea.
No, but what I'm saying.
Abraham said to God, "You don't know the rules."
No,
That's right. No, it doesn't.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that.
We've been reading.
Yeah, well, I think, I personally think that the categorization, it reflects now, like, what I want to suggest is that we hear the categorization of things in a different way, that they reflect in our, like, for example, when we see in the parts of the Quran that we read, like in Psalms that we say before Kabbalah, that we say part of our Kabbalah Shabbat, where we see that creation and justice in the Psalms and in the Psalms, we see it's something that we in the modern world, we're not used to that. Where it seems to us strange, how creation and justice, what's the connection between them? And in the text, so I feel it shows that we have different categories, they express different things. I will say from the way that I grew up, and like and the outlook, yeah. So I'm saying the outlook that I grew up, the meaning of my religion to me and the belief in God is not separate from, that's the meaning of creation, that's the meaning of human beings created by one.
Can I respond to that, back to the text?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I completely identify with that, but when Hanoch asked the question, what difference does a text like this make? I'm not an expert in Christianity, maybe there are other Christian voices, but I think the dichotomy there between faith and works, that one can have belief, which is not necessarily connected to ethics, that a Jewish theology is not connected just to a belief in a divine being, but a commanding voice. And without commandment, it's like, what text, just a second, what this text, and we're just given this paragraph, what difference would it make in my life? Well, if I don't connect it to some kind of ethical imperative, then it might not make that much difference in my life, because it's a statement of faith and not a statement of ethics.
So it's the Quran that we read before.
No, they talk about justice.
So part of this,
justice and not
you can see the visible and invisible. Visible is something you can actually know, but the invisible you have to believe in this. So also in science, sometimes you have to believe in the theory. Also Einstein believed in his theory, but he didn't only, it's impossible to improve it.
I know I've spoken a lot, but let me just say one last sentence and then I will be quiet. Do we have a Christian around here?
No.
Right, and I want to say, we've been delving on this text. We've been delving on this text. The person that brought this text together, although he's not here, certainly, he brought two texts. This one relates to action, and that's all I want to say is that we've been delving on a Christian text without a Christian being here to represent it. Not like when we were learning the Islam.
I can say something here.
This is the amazing text that you can read.
We should read that out the same.
Well, the reason I didn't turn to the Dataseed was because I'm really trying to do the spirit of scriptural reasoning, which is to stay with Scripture. Because we don't share the Dataseed, we do share the Scripture. There's something different about Scripture, because the idea of doing the scriptural reasoning is that we read with generosity. This is the word of God that we can agree on, that the Abrahamic faiths agree on, and behind the other faith traditions. That's having a sacred text. It's different. And Christians believe that the encyclicals are, some of them are divine, some of them are not. But they can be the encyclicals about God are divine, encyclicals about the environment or AI or not. They're just good teaching. So it's different categories. An important category. It's important to think about Christianity in this way, but just for scriptural reasoning, I kept it to. I was thinking of keeping it to scripture. And it's the same thing through that. That's why we're not doing the liturgy, because we don't share it. And the point of this is the hospitality of sharing around the table. That's why.
It's not a rejection. The discussion is a bit different. In the discussion that we had on the Quranic text, we were hearing from people that are living
This is
in
true,
it.
right.
And it was a different, and that's why the atmosphere of the discussion was different. Now we are more in the head.
Flying with the ideas.
Exactly,
Yeah.
we're flying with the
Yeah.
ideas.
Yeah.
It's not connected in the same way, like when we had Amal
It's
give
true.
it to us in that way.
It's true. That is one of the imperfections of actual human beings, that they're not here.
Like I want to suggest, but again I'll be quiet after this, that we go to the text of the people here around the table.
We will. I think that's our next week. I just want to hear from Natan everything. Yeah, about this text.
Again, so this now.
Right.
But you feel that's not your faith?
I do. I feel that this is very much my faith, but I feel that the discussion, I think, personally, as I reflect on, is less fruitful than when we have it from the heart of the people, that this is their.
But it's, I always say, it's certain in Hebrew. It's positive. Jesus was Jewish. John,
Yeah, no, this is,
John was Jewish.
this, I love what's written here. I'm
Also in the
connected.
Quran, it's
Yeah,
still.
I'm deeply connected to this. I think it's beautiful. I love it, and I believe, and I read it, and I love it. I'm saying that the kind of discussion was
No, it
is
doesn't live in
different.
the Java case.
No, I say the idea is mentioned in all the
Yeah, it's beautiful. I
Also
love
in
it.
the Quran, it's
Yeah,
mentioned.
yeah. I love it. I feel it's mine. I love it, and I think it's beautiful. I had some criticism about the kind of discussion when we were saying, oh, but this means this. Oh, but if we categorize it like this, this was a different kind of discussion than when we were. And I'm saying we have to, yeah.
We live in a limited world. It's a fallen world. I'll say it in Christian. It's a fallen world, and we're all sinners in it. And so we're struggling to do it. I still think there's a real richness in how we read this text, because it's not just for Christians. That's the spirit of Jesus. So the reasoning is that we're allowed to read the text. They're allowed to read our text, right? And we open. That's what hospitality is. So
We approach it from a naive stance.
okay.
If I may interject, the second verse I chose from the Quran is talking about the differences in people, the differences in people's colors and languages.
Yes,
Also languages means
I just want to make sure that we have some space, which we have only half an hour. And I'm trying to be a good moderator. We only have half an hour, and I want to make sure we have space for the Jewish text.
No, I'll just take a minute.
Okay.
Because in this one, this verse, it says that it's a miracle that creating the skies and the earth was a miracle. And also creating you with your differences of tongues and languages and colors and everything else is also a miracle. And it's put in the same line as the skies and the earth. It also means differences in understanding. But if you're looking at the same thing, you're reading the same thing. Having different understandings of the same thing is also a miracle. So I just want to celebrate this space and bless this space, because in my faith, this is amazing wherever the discussion takes us.
One of the things,
Amen.
you want to read the text one more time? How about you say goodbye to it and you want to.
Which one? Listen to me. For in him all things in heaven and on earth were created, things visible and invisible, whether thrones and domination or rulers or powers, all things have been created for him and for him. In himself is before all things, and in him all things are together. It's quotation.
But nowhere in Judaism, but Eileen.
It's quotation.
But nowhere in Judaism, I think, Katanti, but that the God created the word for himself.
Yeah.
This is very strange to the Judaic thought, because he created, it's very, he created the word for us to overcome, for us to cope, for us to grow. I don't think he made it for himself. He himself diminished himself. He had to make between.
But did he create human beings?
Yes, but by the act of creation, but again, I'm in the philosophy, I'm not in the text, I want to be a good people, but by doing so, he humiliated himself. He paid a price and created for doing so.
Okay, colleagues, I'm trying to be a good steward of the text. You just gave us an interesting challenge, which is problematic. I think we do better if we can delve into a text. So the suggestion I'm going to make is to delve into 29 and number 5. Because I think that if we want to talk about sustainability.
Which one?
Number 5. On these versions. Okay. If anyone has any other idea for what they want to explore.
Why did you chose that one?
I chose that because I looked it up. Because first of all, he has a lot, it had to be, I want it to be a biblical text and not from, I want to be a biblical text. And not the liturgy and not the because this is a text we share. So I thought that, so I looked at 29, because I thought, okay, you know, that's share. And then it's about generation.
So which person?
It was the one in the last generation. I mean, if anyone wants to do a
The English doesn't have that. English doesn't have.
So I read it, the sentence,
English,
one
yeah.
sentence, right?
No, the English doesn't have that translated. And the English section doesn't have it.
doesn't have what?
It has,
It has this to start.
does the Hebrew have more?
Yeah.
Ah, I see this one.
Remember, a large green sheet.
I said so.
We only have one sentence in 5. This is what you meant?
Look in the Hebrew, yes, it's one pasuk, but it's a long pasuk.
Ah, it's not just,
So let's read in Hebrew and translate it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's do it again. Hebrew.
Hebrew. ואמר הדור האחרון ביניכם אשר יקומו מאחריכם והנוכרי אשר יבוא מארץ רחוקה וראו את מכות הארץ ההיא ואת תחלואיה אשר חילה השם בה.
Okay. And later generations will ask the children of Tzachi and families who come from distant lands and see the plagues and diseases that God has inflicted upon the land. Why don't you do some more so we can hear more about this text?
אוקיי. גופרית ומלח שרפה כל ארצה לא תזרע ולא תצמיח ולא יעלה בה כל עשב כמהפכת סדום ועמורה אדמה וצבועים אשר הפך השם באפו ובחמתו.
להמשך של מה שקראת קודם?
כן.
Not devastated by sulfur and salt. Beyond so many producing, no grass growing in it. Just like the people of Sodom and Gomorrah and Maayan, Zublim, which God overthrew in fierce anger.
ואמרו, כל הגויים הלא עשה השם ככה לארץ הזאת, מחולי האף הגדול הזה, ואמרו, על אשר עזבו את ברית השם אלוקי אבותם, אשר קראתי עמם והוציא אותם מארץ מצרים.
All nations will ask, why did God do thus to this land? Wherefore thou offer wrath? They will be told, behold, because they forsook the covenant of the eternal God of their ancestors made with them upon freeing them from the land of Egypt.
וילכו ויעבדו אלוהים אחרים והשתחוו להם, אלוהים אשר לא ידעום ולא חלק להם.
They turned to the service of other gods and worshipped them. God certainly did not experience and did not make them better for them.
ויחר אף השם בארץ ההיא להביא עליה את כל הקללה הכתובה בספר הזה.
So God was incensed at that land and brought upon it all the curses recorded in the book. Comments about that?
Yeah.
God not
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a very, it's not broken Sunday text. It's
Conditional text.
Yeah.
It's wonderful text.
It's a wonderful text. Though.
Amazing text.
Yeah. So that's why I chose that.
And I will tell you why. I'm the
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
That's the text is for you.
Yeah.
As my response to you.
Yeah.
It's when you look on the ground, you look at the people, and say, what's happening here? You may say, okay, they don't do that justice. No, the reason is they don't believe in me.
Yes.
This is the reason.
Yeah.
And because of that, you think that they don't behave like rights to the ground, to the nature, to people, nothing. The problem is that I'm the king, I'm the ruler, I'm the God, and if you don't believe in me, I will destroy you. That is amazing, and a question that we have here, and this is the, and now I can say it where, because I'm a Jewish, until now. Not yet. And I converted it, but I feel embarrassed by this text. Yeah. Why? This is the story. This is the story.
This is nice, this is, all that, after all that happy brother, all that cheery stuff, it's like, this is also.
No, I prefer
You like
hair
that?
relief.
It's very nice.
I prefer hair
We
relief.
like that.
I believe in hair.
We want that. We want that to happen.
I wanted your Mona. That's my.
I want us to, I want goodness and faith to be here.
But Natan had something to say about what
I'm looking at the text because it's unclear. I only heard it inside that what's lacking is belief, not what's maybe it's action that's lacking. We didn't do what the state fair said to do.
No, it's not. It's
It's
justice.
both, it's both.
It's both.
As which could be more action, but then Avada, you served other gods,
That's also action based.
yeah, but
it's God's.
But
It's ritual. It's not.
But it's not
That's the
ethical.
way.
What order of the gods? Maybe the gods are doing ethical actions. It's serving money, it's serving
What he said, it's also appear in the Quran in Arabic. That the God is Rahman, Rahum, but the God is Jabbar, is the Qahar, he is the Muntaqim, Mukim, Gadol, זה גם שמות כאלה שיש להם איזה negative meaning.
But it's not the text we read about Rahman in this. We read the text saying claiming that he will destroy us if we don't believe
This is
he's
the same God. He
Yes,
is the
yes.
Rahman, he is the
Also
the
the Punisher.
Rahman. He is the
One with no one.
But here's
$19.98.
this is the undoing of creation. And what's interesting to me about this text is that God takes out his dribbles on the land, the actual soil, the salt of the land. Right, and that's what's really interesting, it's the collapse of the natural world.
This is the tool by which he punishes us or blesses us, because he can grant us בכל קריאת שמע, נכון?
It's really important,
That's
thinking about
why-
this, our whole thing about the climate and environment, what's falling apart, right? We may be upset about this, that war, but it's bad, nothing, but what's falling apart is the natural world, right, itself. And that's, the permafrost is melting, right? So that's what's interesting to me, this deep connection with the destruction of the land itself.
So this is what we call natural disasters, but some of them are not natural because they are
It's our fault, it's what we were saying, it really is our agency because of our action. We engage God in this.
Exactly.
The
But we
way it's-
also have the stories in the Quran about Noah
Yeah.
and about
Lut is coming at the same time of Abraham.
I mean, when it comes to God mentions the tribe of the people, like in Noah's ark story, for example, all the believers that were there, they were drowned.
Yeah,
It's like a tsunami, like, wait.
God sent him to try to convince him to
Try to
stop.
convince
And he did a lot, but
So
finally he didn't succeed.
So what we believe in, God has 99 names in Islam. And as you said, one of them
Okay,
is
So
vengeful. So
back
these
to this
natural
text.
disasters.
Back to the text, the difficult text. We all want to run away from this text because it's part of the story, it's part of it. And just think about what's happening. So all of us writing, Moshe is talking to these people, right?
No,
Before
you
they-
talk to the people and tell them about the next generation, about the next or the grandchildren. I don't know this right. הדור האחרון is.
And also these people are the children, they've never been they're already the next generation, right?
They are the second generation,
Yeah.
and there is the next generation.
Yeah.
And he told them that the next generation, after the destruction of the land, of the city of Turkey, they will say that, and the answer will be.
If I'm something cheery and hopeful.
No,
It was not.
Yeah.
You don't believe in God, you believe in other things, and you worship. That's okay, that's fine for me. And it's not good to work, but it's okay that they worship another thing. And this is the reason why God, will make this possible in this structure. And
it doesn't talk about destruction in the text, if I remember. It talks about like great disasters. After Noach, שאתה לימדת, he said, he promised, I will never distract you.
The whole world. The world. This is just Eretz Israel.
This is it.
Okay.
Just salt right here. Well, it's also the resident of the internet around the thing about the salt and the freshwater merging, which is problematic actually in the water. It's brackish. So that can't form with salt and water. When those two words are concentrated, it's very tempting not to spend time with text like this, because
no, we have to spend time.
Well, we have to spend time with this, especially if we're worried about climate change, existential risk. So what does this do? How does this come up? How does this read this? How are you changed by this? It's a big time threat.
Think about the situation. The story is behind this, that you arrive, see what's happened to the land, and you ask yourself, what's happened here? What is the story? This is the real situation. And you have to deal with that. Because you say, oh my God, there's some disaster, something happened here. I want to know what's happened to that. How is it possible that people arrive to this situation, that community arrive to this situation? This is the question. And for me, this is the question the most important. And this is important for us. Talking about climate change, this situation. You know, when I talk with Moise, one of the fellows last year, and there was the question of the AI and ethics. And he was invited to be in the team that writes now the ethical code of the cloud. And they said something very, very interesting. The anthropic, all the principal, the rector, the technologists, they always said it's technology, it's just technology. But when you listen to them, they talk about cloud as he, as a subject. We try to understand how he thinks, how he created that. And this is amazing because it's like we see and say, okay, what's happened here? We did something wrong. We don't know. Something happened here. We try to understand. And this is the situation that this text asks. I don't like the answer, but I really, really love the question.
It's like God created us and then what? I cannot say מה זה עשיתי? What's going on here?
What's going on?
He created and he doesn't understand what.
Not he. We arrived to the city. We arrived to the climate change. We arrived to the AI. We arrived to the disaster. We arrived to the war. And we say, okay, what the hell? What's going on?
We choose that. Yes, it's our choice.
It's our choice.
But it's not a text about our understanding or not understanding. It's him explaining, or him warning, or him conditioning. It's a text of him.
The other nations ask us. That's what's really part of it.
There comes a stranger after you, not only the next generations, ואמר הדור האחרון בעיניכם, ושלקום ואחריכם, והנוכרי אשר יבוא מארץ רחוקה. Like the stranger will come from...
All nations will ask.
Then this becomes the problematic text that allows.
Three is foreign, not this.
Yes,
I've heard this text used quite often from other faith traditions about why we don't deserve Israel. I mean, this is primary text for why we don't deserve to have. I mean, Detroit Hart loves this text because it becomes you acted badly with the land, you destroyed the land, therefore you don't deserve it. You've been kicked out and you have no place of return. So what do you do? The no Korean comes to us and say, this is proof. And every bad thing that's happening in the war, during the Hamas, becomes yet further proof text of us not deserving to be here. Undermining what do you do with that?
I mean, you keep reading. There's
no good end to this one.
Well, no. This Moses, there's a story about there's return, right? That's why. But to stay with this text for a while is to think that it might not, that we're just staying with the wrath for a moment. There's a thing called astro-pessimism. Have you ever heard of this? This is what it's like to live on an academic campus. You can live in astro-pessimism. So astro-pessimism is awareness.
I like the word.
It's awareness. It's like deep cut. It's awareness that the world, that the sun is exploding, the universe is expanding, it's all going to be gone anyway. What difference does it make anyway? Our moral actions are ridiculous because we're all expanding. I was explaining how astro-pessimism to a black theologian colleague of mine. And I said, it's awful. Until they're worried that maybe nothing happens. It's all going to happen. And she looked at me calmly and she said, maybe. and her faith was so clear that she thought, it's like, well, God's not going to let that happen.
Yeah.
Right?
You are still thinking the whole meaning. We believe destroyed it. This is not the good meaning. Destroyed it, that means the human meaning that's destroyed it. Or something like that. But the God meaning doesn't destroy it. We can say that.
Why is this not bad theology too on some because they're like, well, bad things happen to bad people.
Yeah, exactly. This is what.
And that's, which is what you have this is used sometimes, right?
Bad in which meaning? Not in a merit meaning.
My concern was that we were, in the conversation before, my concern was that we weren't remaining with the text, that ideas were brought out of the text, and that was my concern in relation to the discussion before. I felt in the discussion before that we weren't remaining with the text, we were talking about
now we're with the text.
That was my concern before.
That's okay.
That's okay.
I'm saying to clarify, because also here I feel that we, that's my concern about the discussion. With the astrophysics, like I feel that's something out of the text. Let's stay in.
So in the text is very dark, right?
Yeah, but in the text.
The text would go back to, right, this notion of God was incensed at the land and brought upon it all the curses recorded in this book.
The people, he was upset with the people, not with the land. The land is Vayashem Adonai Me'alat Matan. He wrenches them out of the land, it says.
Well, its soil is devastated by sulfur and salt.
Beyond
Sodom, no grass growing.
Right, it's relating to Sodom and Gomorrah.
Where you ask the question, should not that's your justice question, comes into this case. The echo of that.
Yeah, there's an echo, absolutely.
There's an
echo here.
Yeah.
It's rounding environmental sustainability with social sustainability. It's very strongly tied together.
What's Amnon and Zebulun? What's those places?
Those were suburbs of Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah, the light rail.
They got swept away. Adnan and Skoy. They're not alone.
Sodom, Gomorrah, Adonai.
It's a tourist attraction, which is a little weird, right? The later generations will ask, when the children who succeed you, and foreigners who come from distant lands and see the plagues and disasters that God has inflicted upon them.
And then what do they do after the faith?
I don't know, why are the foreigners coming and looking on the blighted land?
Maybe as a lesson.
It's also your children will call you to account. As a theme in a lot of environmental literature, is we'll have to answer to our grandchildren. James, what's his name's book? It's about it's a letter to my grandchildren. Right? James Hansen, the NASA scientist, writes that letter saying, writes this book about to his grandchildren. My book is to my grandchildren.
You know, we say the Torah is always continuously living. So we're always thinking about our grandchildren. We're always the people who are about to sort of land. We're always the people thinking about what will our children think about what I do right now. Which is a little bit what Kevin said about it comes to us. We're responsible. We're the ones.
Actually, technically, it's our grandparents that created the world. The carbon environment that we're living in now was created by our grandparents.
So we're the children.
We are the children. We're the children come back. Because it takes a while. There's a lag. So we're not yet living with the implications of our own actions. That's our grandchildren with the implications of our actions.
I see.
The passage also begins, you stand before me, those that are here and those that haven't been born yet. So it's there's a discussion here for all generations.
I think there is something similar in the Islamic, the Quranic text, and here in this text. And the word is why.
Which word?
Why? You say pismon in English.
Pismon?
Hymn.
A refrain.
No, a refrain.
Chorus.
Yeah, the chorus. Let's make a chorus. The chorus. In the chorus in the Quran was why you are denial. What's happened to you? You don't see, you don't understand, you don't realize. And here is the same. What's happened to you? What happened to you? And it's a very strong word, the why, because sometimes you don't know the way what's happened to you, and you found yourself in another way. I mean, ethically, theologically, socially. That's it. What's happened here? How to arrive to this situation? And there is need to someone, and it could be the Quran, it could be Paul, it could be Moses. Someone would say,
This is right.
no. They will say, why? What happened to you?
But I didn't see why, not in this text nor in the context. I don't see the why. I see the command. Why is not there? He says clearly what you said before. If it's because you didn't do like this, it's because you behaved this and that, this is what happens. There's no why there.
You know the situation. You see, not you, you're okay, always. You're always okay, but people, that someone stab you. That's it.
Maybe it's secular theologian.
What do you? What's happened to you? That's enough.
It's not a real why, it's a stop.
It's stuff. It's exactly. You're right.
It's not a question, it's an order.
Yeah.
Okay, now I understand the why.
Yeah, you're right. It's not a question.
And that's why the answer is the important part. The question is the important part. The stopping is the interruption. And in the Quran, it's like you're given this beautiful world. You're described this beautiful world. And of course, the Muslim has a beautiful world. Look, you're about to enter this beautiful world. And you're going to mess it up. And I gave you everything. It's all but fruits and hanging grain and this. And don't you see that? What's wrong with you, Jen? What's wrong with both of you? Don't see it. So it's something about not seeing reality.
It's the people of Israel who messed it up from the day Moses took us out of Egypt, we started to mess it up. We didn't spend much time before messing it up. We started to complain and to cry. We messed it up the moment we had the chance to do it. So the why is really stays unanswered. I don't know.
Don't you feel about climate change a lot? Like looking around and thinking, how did we get, wow, how did, you know?
The why that you say about also appear here. فبأي آلاء ربك تكذبان. Why you don't believe what God willing?
Maybe the answer is what you told us about the genes and the human. Tell it, it's amazing how the Druze see the genes and the humans this is we call it עכשיו. Because it's really...
Because there is no materialistic thing that could be evident of the gene. Gene is the part of the devil in the soil of the
correct.
The ins is the part of the good, the God. So
This
there is
is
a
the
competition between this and this. And you choose who is you honor, you admire. So this is the choice.
It's amazing.
Glory,
Yes.
time is over.
It is, for 2 minutes.
To read again.
Let's read it again. Go, read it again here.
So somebody else read.
Okay. You get to read it. Starting from...
Maybe just the English.
Yeah. And later generations will ask, the children who succeed you are foreigners who come from distant lands, and see the plague, the diseases and violence inflicted upon that land, all the soil devastated by sulfur and salt, beyond sowing and producing, no grass growing in it, just like the upheaval of Sodom and Gomorrah, Adullam, committing in fierce anger. And all nations will ask, why did God do thus to this land? Wherefore God will wrath? And they'll be told, because they forsook the covenant of the eternal God of their ancestors gave them on freedom in the land of Egypt. They turned to the service of other gods and worshipped them, gods who they had not experienced and would not have allotted to them. So God was incensed to them and he brought upon them all the curses recorded in this book. God rooted them from the soil in anger, fury, and great wrath, and cast them into another land, and it is still the case. Concealed acts concern the eternal our God, but with the overt acts, it is for us and our children ever to apply all the provisions of his teaching. I'm going to end the cheering with like prophecy. When all these things befall you, the blessing and curse I've set before you, you should take them apart as the various nations to which the eternal God has banished.
That's why it was divided in that way. When we read it in the synagogue, it's divided in that way, so that we finish with
Thank you so much.
Wow.